in this country, old is almost pejorative. And you know, people look at, they seem to act like people when they're old, they're not worth anything. Whereas if you're older, you're on a path and you still have opportunity to contribute. So I've never looked on death as being a problem. I've always looked on it as just being a transition. My big interest in life is having reached the age of 90, that how do you slide out of life? Because life has been grand, and now I want to have a good death. But I just think being positive and finding positive ways to approach things is so much easier than being negative. I guess I just always lived every day as today. My one grandmother died when I was about 12 or 13, and she had had heart trouble, and she came to live with us. And I got sent to we were in a little apartment building, but there were maids' rooms on the top floor, and so I got sent up there. And I came down one morning, and they said she's died, and that was kind of and then my grandfather, his wife, who had died, my grandfather lived on his own, and one of his cousins came and basically kept house, and they managed. And he had dinner, and he got up and walked from the table and sat down in the living room, started rocking me, and half an hour later he was dead. So that to me is, you know, kind of an ideal situation. Our daughter's a nurse, and she lives in Oak Harbor, and she's very aware of my attitude. So because she's a nurse and not hard-hearted, but very professional, she's my first choice as a personal representative. I do Y exercises 5 days a week, and I walk, and I think my responsibility is to stay healthy. I definitely don't want to die in a hospital, and as Maureen knows, I have this chart that talks about what does it matter to be age friendly and dying, and it's just. I want to do my part to be able to be as healthy as I am. And when I stop being healthy, I just as soon check out. We've got an elevator in the building, and if you're not careful, you can push the button that says help, help. Typically,
I've seen those elevators before.
Yeah, typically people have a bag of groceries or something in their hand, and they push the elevator, and they get off the elevator, and then the emergency person calls, and nobody answers. And so I'm the one that gets to go out and see who's lying dead in the elevator. And so far, no one's been there. You know, otherwise they'd have to send emergency people. So that's one of my valuable jobs. Actually, my favorite spot is to stretch out on the bed and take an afternoon nap. And before I take an afternoon nap, I read something that is going to stimulate my brain, like Silk Roads, or the other book that I got recently was one I really dearly love, which is Our Common Purpose. And this is the one that's put out by the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. And this is just talking about what's wrong with our democracy right now and how can we fix it. So I really enjoyed that. And then in the evening, I read books for fun and typically mysteries. You start to realize when you're healthy and you're doing well and you've reached the age of 80 that you're not going to live forever. And I've never looked at death as being a problem. I've just looked at it. Actually, I've thought that, one of the wonderful things about death is you don't have to pack ahead of time. This is a real blessing because when you try to go on other trips, you have to really get organized.